So starting off this week, I have been starting working on my Trello. The Trello page is very useful when it comes to making games and just working on your project in general because it allows me to not get lost in what needs doing for my project. I can always head back to Trello if I ever get lost. And then I could just see what parts have I mentioned in the past that I haven't done yet. In an example, I like if I've done all of these three things, like how to play the sword the enemy, but I haven't done a single scratch on the engine. I could just go on Trello, and then I see it's there, and I'll be like, oh, that's one thing that I've been missing. So Trello is very helpful when it comes to that. Another thing is that I was working on my questionnaire. I ask simple questions here and there, but the whole questionnaire is similar to how I've done in the previous project because, of course, it is the same game, but just now with the puzzle side of things. But a few parts here and there have changed to be mainly asking about the puzzles rather than about the whole game in general. Of course, like here, how hard the puzzle should be, and then I ask other questions like how my concept art was done. Speaking of which, I have been working on my concept art. So the enemy, I've always wanted to keep it to be a space pirate alien type scenario, and I believe I did pretty well with the concept art by keeping it in a simplistic design because, as I've mentioned before in previous uh, moments, I want my game to stay a cartoony style. I do not want my game to be photorealistic as it's not how I do my art. I usually like doing my own custom art rather than photorealistic. Anyways, the sword will be a separate model, so my model counter can go upwards even more. But continuing on, the engine is still kind of reused from the previous project, but I never got onto making this model, so this time I will be working on this model, and hopefully this can be done in time for me to actually work on the puzzle mechanic. Because if this model does not get made, then the puzzle mechanic possibly can't get made. Another thing is that the main menu is kept in the same vein of my actual game, where how there's a sun in the background and you're in space. What I've done this time is, of course, added my custom buttons to go with this design, and this is what I believe the main menu will look like at the end of my game. After that is my pitch. I have been working on it by adding just a little background, and then, of course, explaining different parts of my game. My target audience, of course, stays the same. My mechanics mentioned here are now mainly about my mechanics for this project, which is about the puzzles, rather than in the previous project where I was on about the whole game in general. My rationale, as I mentioned here, is still keeping it to the vein that it's similar to Alien Isolation and Among Us, where you do tasks and there's an alien on board your ship. My evaluation is just going about how I'll be trying my best to evaluate my work every so often, and then after that, I will try doing as many of these as possible by doing questionnaire, like I've already started. I doubt I can get focus groups done. Maybe I could if I can get people to go in a voice call with me. Who knows? YouTube is still going to be my main source for tutorials because it helps me figure out how those games work. And here's, of course, my reference list. But what I will be hoping to do next time is I hope to have this whole pitch finished. My questionnaire is pretty much done. And I hope that I can start working on the game. Maybe I'll be working on the win loss conditions, as that's the easiest thing to work on, or I will start off with modeling because that's the most important part to start